तस्मै नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम हरे 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 कृष्ण. So welcome back to today's Bhakti Shastri session. So we are just about to last, I think, just few sessions remaining, and maybe 2 or 3 sessions remaining to complete this unit of chapter number 6. So we are on the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita now, and that is called as Dhyana Yoga. And this chapter of Bhagavad Gita is spoken with the intention to tell Arjuna to clarify all other parts of yogas also. So Krishna mentioned about Nishkam Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga. Then he also wanted to tell Arjuna, okay, Dhyana Yoga also, because Arjuna might get that question. What about the yogis? What about the yogis, those who come to Himalayas, those who come from Himalayas? Like in Prayagraj, when we had gone this time, so many yogis had come, so many yogis, and suddenly they disappear. So sometimes this question comes, hey, what these people do, from where they come. So that possibility of exploring the path of yoga also should not remain unattended. Otherwise, you may get a thought. The mind is such a thing. Mind is such a thing. Mind is such. It is said the mind is such a thing that whatever you don't have, we like to think about it. Maybe what is there? I think what I have been given is not the proper one. Maybe something which I have not got in my life. Maybe that may be better. So this is the way mind has a tendency to never be satisfied in this world. Like recently, we know there is a big YouTube war going on between the two temples right now. Like the Supreme Court decision has come, and some people are making video about this Ritvik system. Some people are making about ISKCON system and YouTube war. And sometimes devotees also get confused. Arey, what is there? Maybe something which I don't have. I'm not given. Maybe that may be there or something. What there people are thinking. Oh, right, ISKCON is so. This is always a confusion. So whatever we have been given, there's a tendency in mind that we are never, we always have tendency to compare and not satisfied. But no matter what the thing is, the basics of Krishna consciousness and the basics of yoga in the all the parts of yoga, they always remain the same. Like we know Parampuja Radhanath Maharaj in his Journey Home book. So Maharaj has just written this Journey Home book in such a beautiful manner. If you see, he has come across so many different spiritual paths, and hardly has criticized any path. He said there is something common which I have found in almost all the paths of yoga. Something common. So now if I were to ask you a question, can you say some things which are very common to all the different paths of yogas? Can you write in chat box? Something which is no matter what path is, no matter which even god they are worshipping. Okay, let's consider they are worshipping Lord Vishnu only. Let's not consider other demigods. But what all things are common to almost all the spiritual paths? Uh, we should not, means if you want to just see the commonality between all the religions. Okay, low voice is telling. Okay, uh, shall I change the speaker? Prabhu, is voice better now or earlier it was better?
His voice
Better
is
now.
better.
This one is better?
Yes, yes.
Yes, bro.
Okay. Yes, Prabhu. So Akshay Prabhu is telling they want something higher. Prashant Prabhu is telling austerity. Austerities are the common thing. Then Satyanarayan Prabhu is telling uplifting from sense gratification, faith and prayers for the God. consistency and determination. Yeah, body and soul difference. Now, okay, now austerities and devotion and welfare. So there are, so you see the goodness, the mode of goodness required, the control of the mind, the austerity, the prayer, the desire to do welfare for others, sacrifice for others. If you see, these are all common to almost all the paths of religion. So he said the actual yogi, he doesn't stuck upon the differences between the paths. He looks at the essence. What is the essence of all the spiritual paths? So essence of all spiritual paths is that one should fix his mind upon God. One should fix his mind upon Krishna. Now the ways may be different. Some may approach a very jnana mark, some may approach very karma mark. But as we know, by our own practice and our experience, one can see how bhakti yoga is the very easiest means to fix one's mind and consciousness on Krishna. So we have been discussing on this chapter. So in the verse number 10 to 32, so around 23 shlokas of this chapter, they are discussing about the various stages in the practice of Ashtanga Yoga. So we discussed there are two stages primarily. One is called as Yoga Arudha stage and another is called as Yoga Ruruksha stage. Yoga Ruruksha stage is a very basic stage and we have to go till Yoga Rudha stage. So what are the symptoms of a person on the Yoga Rudha stage? What are the practices? What sadhana they do? So sadhana, then sadhana and then bhav and bhakti, like we say, no? The different stages, sadhana, then bhav, and then prem. So similarly, the three stages in almost all kinds of yoga are mentioned. Like what is Ashtanga Yoga mein sadhana, what is Ashtanga Yoga mein matlab little more perfection, and what is the highest perfection in Ashtanga Yoga. This all things are mentioned. So last time we discussed till which sloka, bro?
We have to start from 24, Prabhuji.
20,
4.
24. So from verse number 18 to 23, we discussed about what is the perfectional stage of Ashtanga Yoga. So to said the perfectional stage of Ashtanga Yoga means what? One should discipline his mind. One should make his chitta very, very consciousness very, very peaceful, and then one should be all freed from material desires. Example is given of a lamp in the windless place. So the lamp is very steer. So similarly, the consciousness of such a person is very, very peaceful. That is yatha deepo nivat. There is one shloka which comes. So as the lamp doesn't flicker, similarly the consciousness of a yogi does not flicker. Then, when one becomes very perfected devotee in the Ashtanga Yoga, what are the realizations which he gets? So, first is the very famous shloka is Yam labdha chaparam labham manyate na dikam tata yasmin sthito na dukhe na guru napi vichalyate. That is labdha chaparam labham. He is very, very satisfied in his life. So there are two kinds of people uh, okay, now let me ask you a question. Uh, there are two kinds of people in this world. You have to tell me which is the person who is greater or which is the person who is higher. Okay, you have to ask, you have to tell me. Now, let's say we see different people in this world and they create different expectations. Like when you go to a company, so now trending is created. Oh, you are going to company? Then you should have a little 35 lakh package at least. Yesterday, one devotee was telling me, Prabhuji, 30 lakh package here, sir. And he said, it is so less, Prabhuji. 30 lakh package is nowadays so less. My God. I said, Arey, Baap, 30 lakh package is also less. He said, yeah, Prabhuji, nowadays, see, our BMS school fees are only 1 lakh, Prabhu. He said, if I want to put children in, I said, nursery. He said, yeah, nursery children fees is 1 lakh rupees. Then he said, better teach me home only. I'll join, make him home tuition only. He said, 1 lakh rupees. For 10 years, I'll spend 10 lakh, more than 10 lakh rupees. And this is only one child. Then another child. 20, 30 lakhs rupees I'm just spending on the education of children. So he was just sharing the facts of the world. And so now flat rates, car rates. So now if I ask you a question, now this is not about the devotee. I'm talking about the in general trend that Now, because of associating with the materialistic people and outside world, we create our needs for the life. Okay, I need some at least 3 BHK apartments, and then we need at least bungalows. We need at least economic class in the flights and all. So, who is a person who is higher? One who is struggling very, very hard to get all those needs and the comforts of the world. Or second, one who doesn't need this. Matlab, one who doesn't need this is a higher person, or a person who has to really very, very work very hard, and he has to struggle to get the comforts, and then he can become happy. I hope you understood the question. So one who has transcended the need for the luxuries of this world and the comforts of this world is a person who is higher, or the person who is actually struggling to get all those needs and the luxuries and the comforts of the world. Is he higher? Okay, you can write in chat box. One who does not need. Yeah, one who has transcended is the higher. So you see, both have same. Both places struggle is required. Both the places there is a need of a struggle, right? Now that mm, both the places there is a need of a struggle. That a person who doesn't require, he's also he has also struggled in his life, and the person who has to accomplish all these things, he also has to struggle. Now devotee has to choose his struggle, which struggle he is ready to undergo, whether the struggle of transcending these things, then you don't need, only you're not dependent on anyone, or second is no, try to fulfill all those needs. So okay, so today we have to start from verse number 24. So, verse number 24 to 32, around this 9 shlokas, they are going to speak about how to attain perfection in the path of Ashtanga Yoga. So, what are the methods which are required? So, we have understood till now what is the highest perfection, that is Yoga Rudha stage. So, how to attain Yoga Rudha stage? So, verse number 24 to 25, they will speak about this, how to attain that Yoga Rudha stage. Verse number 24. 'Okay, bro. 6.24. So this is a shloka which is speaking about how to attain Yoga Rudha stage. What are the different methods? Sanishchayena yoktavyo yoga nirvinna chetasa sankalpa prabhavan kamams tyaktva sarvam sheshatah manase vindriya gramam vinimya samantata shanne shaner उपपरमेत् बुद्ध्याधृति गृहीतया आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा न किञ्चित् अपि चिन्तयेत्.
Translation: one should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith and not be deviated from the path. One should abandon without exception all material desires born of mental speculation and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind.
Yeah. So here there is one very beautiful line. One should abandon without exception all material desires born of mental speculation. So that is called as Sankalpa Jayate Kama. So this is a step. So there is one word here you see, right? In the path of yoga, it is mentioned Sankalpa Prabhavan Kama. So he says, so there is one shloka which says about how to give up the desires for the lust, or how to give up, how to deal with this lust. So he said, Asankalpa Jayat Kama. So here it is Sankalpa Prabhavan Kama Taktva Sarvam Asheshataha. So he said, one should give up all kinds of lust by making determination, firm determination. So Srila Prabhupada gives an example of many times of Ekadashi. Now, this example appears to be so simpler. Like how many you might have heard. How many of you heard these examples of before of the Ekadashi wala example? That as on Ekadashi, one can simply by deciding that I will not take the grains today, one can fast easily. And on other days, it is very difficult to control our tongue. But on Ekadashi, we get a special power. We get a special power, right? No? That just we'll, no matter pizza comes, pasta comes, no matter what item comes, we can easily give up all kinds of grains. So, yeah, you heard this example before? So now how is it applicable also in the case of lust? Because Prabhupada says this is the way to deal with the lust. What? Simple. Simply make the plans and by simply make the plans. And by this you will be able to give up the desires for the lust. So how it is possible like that? Anyone has any understanding? Okay, I'll read the purport, then we'll take this discussion. Yes, bro. Please read.
The yoga practitioner should be determined and should patiently prosecute the practice without deviation. One should be sure of success at the end and pursue this course with great perseverance, not becoming discouraged if there are any delay in the attainment of success. Success is sure for the rigid practitioner. Regarding Bhakti Yoga, Rupa Goswami says, उत्साहं निश्यद धैर्यता तत्सत् कर्म प्रवर्तनात् संग त्यागत सतो व्रते संभीर bhakti prasidhyati. One can execute the process of bhakti yoga successfully with full-hearted enthusiasm, perseverance, and determination by following the prescribed duty in the association of devotees and by engaging completely in activities of goodness. Updeshamrit 3. As of As for determination, one should follow the example of the sorrow who lost her eggs in the waves of the ocean. The sparrow laid her eggs on the shore of the ocean, but the big ocean carried away the eggs on its wave. The sparrow became very upset and asked the ocean to return her eggs. The ocean did not even consider her appeal. So the sparrow decided to dry up the ocean. She began to pick out the water in her small beak, and everyone laughed at her for her impossible determination. The news for her activity spread, and at last Garuda, the gigantic bird carrier of Lord Vishnu, heard it. He became compassionate towards his small sister bird, so he came to see the sparrow. Garuda was very pleased by the determination of the small sparrow, and he promised to help. Thus, Garuda at once asked the ocean to return her eggs, lest he himself take up the work of the sparrow. The ocean was frightened at this and returned the eggs. Thus, the sparrow became happy by the grace of Garuda. Similarly, the practice of yoga, especially Bhakti Yoga in Krishna consciousness, may appear to be very difficult job, but if everyone follow the principle with great determination, the Lord will surely help. For Lord help those who help themselves.
So beautiful shloka. This so he said by proper conviction. You see this in this purport also. He's writing by proper conviction and okay. The purport which we read was Prabhupada wala or this was Prabhupada only, no? Yeah, this was Prabhupada only. This is another purport. By proper conviction and intelligence, one should gradually cease activities. This is called as pratyahar. So he said, one should. So now here, if you see, lot of focus is given just to determination, especially in the dealing with the material desires which come. So he said, lot of emphasis has been given that simply by determination one can give up lust because asankalpa jayet kama, determination. So Srila Prabhupada also gives example of Ekadashi that if I just decide today is Ekadashi, I'll not eat grains, one is able to give up no matter how many desires are coming, material desires are coming, but still one is able to give up. So he said similarly, by asankalpa jayate kama. By taking a what we say that I'll not engage in the material desires. By taking such resolution, one is able to give up the desires for sense gratification. Just a minute. Kirtan is there. So here you see, success is sure for the rigid practitioner. So anyone, any other shloka in Bhagavad Gita where it is said that rigid practitioner, there is this word comes rigid, that somebody does bhakti in a very rigid manner, then he will surely attain Krishna. Any shloka from Gita or any other Bhagavatam or anywhere where rigid practitioner success is guaranteed? Anyone knows? Which shloka says about rigidity in spiritual life? One should be very pakka, tivra. One should be very tivra.
Tivrena bhakti yogena.
Yeah, tivrena bhakti yogena yajate purusham. So he said. So all of us. So here he said one should be sure of the success at the end. Sure of the success, that there is going to be success at the end, and not get discouraged. So Prabhupada is giving beautiful example of a sparrow bird here. Sparrow bird. That sparrow bird actually almost she was hopeless. She was almost hope against hope. It was a hope against hope to empty the ocean. But she took it as a determination. So this determination has a great power. Just by making plans with firm plan, he says one can overcome the desires for the lust. So sparrow made a firm resolution, and then she was helped by Garuda bird. Similarly, when we make such firm resolution, the Lord helps us. And Prabhupada is writing the famous statement, God helps those who help themselves. Okay. Now the very famous shloka of Bhagavad Gita. You might have quoted this for preaching hundreds of times before. So many times we know the shloka, but we do not know where it comes and why it comes. So this is very easy to remember. This is like a palindrome shloka, na? 6 to 6. 6 to 6. 6 to 6 is a yato nischalati mana chanchalam astiram tato niyam etad atmani evam vasham naet yato nischalati. So he says, whenever the mind goes here and there, bring it back, bring it back, bring it back. That is the path of yoga. Sound has a great power. Like suppose, like just few minutes before there was a kirtan going on, and I don't know whether you heard the kirtan sound, but in case kirtan sound, so some vehicle sound comes or some dart. Suppose this sound comes. So now what happens? Immediately our mind gets distracted. As soon as some big sound comes, our mind gets distracted. So similarly, this is the way to bring the mind back, where to produce the sound. Sound is the manner by which we can bring back the mind. Suppose we are chanting, and the mind has gone Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, and all mind is into plan making. Now, if you want to make it, bring it back, then what do we have to do? Hare Krishna, Krishna. We have to chant little loudly. As soon as we chant little loudly, the mind comes back. So this is the path of yoga. You have to bring the mind back. Yes, for translation.
Prabhuji, 25th verse छूट गया.
25th. You are not read 25th, huh?
No,
Both are together, no?
no, Prabhuji, different.
Here it is together for me.
Okay.
The purport we are not read, you mean to say. We read the shloka, but we did not read this one, translation and purport.
Okay. We have not read the purport of 25th.
Yeah, we have not read the purport.
And translation also.
Yes, bro. Yes, bro.
Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence sustained by full conviction. And thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. By proper conviction and intelligence, one should gradually cease sense activities. This is called pratyahar. The mind being controlled by conviction, meditation, and cessation from the senses should be situated in trance or samadhi. At that time, there is no longer any danger of becoming engaged in the material conception of life. In other words, although one is involved with matter, as long as the material body exists, One should not think about sense gratification. One should think of no pleasure aside from the pleasure of the Supreme Self. This state is easily attained by directly practicing Krishna consciousness.
So basically, don't make plans for sense gratification. This is being spoken here. One should not make plans about sense gratification. And if we don't make plans, now what is meaning of this word plans for sense gratification? So now you see the desires may come, desires will come, but at least those desires of sense gratification should not go into plan making. So he said plan making should not happen. Like certain desires come. Now, if as soon as it goes into plan making, now we have that much control that we can stop this plan making business about fulfilling those material desires. So material desires will come, but the plan making can be stopped. Now it is very not so easy always to give up material desires. I may get a desire this, I may get desire for that, I may get desire for that. But plan making is a task of intelligence. So at least control the plan making business to fulfill those material desires, because intelligence is still under our control. Now material desires mind becomes very difficult to control, but intelligence is still under our focus. So I said stop the plan making business. Don't make plans for sense gratification, rather make plans for Krishna consciousness. So if one does like this, then he will be able to avoid sense gratification. Okay. Purport for this 26, again read the translation and purport for 26.
From wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. Purport. The nature of the mind is flickering and unsteady, but a self realized yogi has to control the mind. The mind should not control him. One who controls the mind and therefore the senses as well is called Goswami or Swami, and one who is controlled by the mind is called Godas or the servant of the senses. A Goswami knows the standard of sense happiness. In transcendental sense happiness, the senses are engaged in the service of Rishikesh or the supreme owner of the senses, Krishna. Serving Krishna with purified senses is called Krishna consciousness. That is the way of bringing the senses under full control. What is more, that is the highest perfection of yoga practice.
Yeah. So somebody asks, what is the definition of bhakti? Bhakti, that very simple definition of bhakti is what? Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. Purify our senses and use those senses in service of Krishna. That is only bhakti. In simple words, use senses in the service of master of senses. So this is called as bhakti. So Prabhupada is writing here. It is understood the mind is very flickering. So don't get surprised if mind creates problem, mind cheats us, mind is flickering and it is unsteady. But that is the task of a yogi, to bring the mind back under its control. So we should not allow mind to control us. The mind will give so many desires again and again, but we should control the mind. We should not allow mind to control us. So mind to control us means don't follow the plans and the dictation which are given by mind, but rather use intelligence and do the plans, make plans for Krishna consciousness. So he said this is the dealing with the mind. So, and anyone who does that is called as Goswami. And anyone who fails to do this is called as Godas. Now, there are in Nectar of Instruction 1, there is a very beautiful shloka which comes Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Udara Upastha Vegam. So we all know that first thing which comes is Vacho Vegam. So Prabhupada mentions in many places this Vacho Vegam is such a thing that Vacho Vegam follows, all other things follow this Vacho Vegam. Vacho Vegam, Rodha Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Udarapastha Vegam, Vacho Vegam, Jiva Vegam. So all these Vegams are Jiva Vegam. All these are following the Vacho Vegam and the Jiva Vegam. Like this, especially tongue. So in case if you are not able to understand why I'm not able to control my stomach, or my belly, my genitors, my this and my all things are connected with the tongue. That's why the tongue has a very big role to play. So any person who's eating more than required, or who's speaking much more than unnecessary things, naturally he will not be able to control his mind. And because he's not able to control his mind, other senses also will not be able to control. So rest is a history. So the yogi, he understands the foremost thing which a person has to control is his tongue. And one of the most powerful way of controlling the tongue is eating Krishna Prasadam, not nothing except Krishna Prasadam. Now for devotees sometimes say, Prabhu, we eat only Krishna Prasad only. We don't eat anything outside. Still, it is difficult for us to do Jiva Vegam, Udara Upastha Vegam, and all those Vegam. Because we are getting Krishna Prasadam, but are we taking that in the consciousness of Krishna Prasadam? It's good that we are eating Krishna Prasad only. We are eating only the sweets from Madhuram, Rasgulla from Madhuram, cakes from Madhuram. But are we really taking it in the consciousness of that it is Krishna Prasadam? So he said that's why one should chant this prayer with a great attention. So you can just try out this miracle in your life. This is a really great miracle. Whenever next time you chant, take Mahaprasadam. All of us take Prasadam immediately after this class. Many of us will go for Prasadam now. So breakfast Prasadam. So chant this prayer very, very attentively. Mahaprasade Govinde. And also thinking about the meaning of this prayer and really praying. Like I remember sometimes back what had happened was when I sit for Prasadam and chant this prayer, this is the prayer which happens fastest. Fastest prayer is the Mahaprasadam prayer. है ना? कितना समय लगता है महाप्रसादम प्रेयर चैंट करने को? ओके, कुछ आइडिया आपको? कितने लोगों को 1 मिनट से नीचे लगता है? हाथ ऊपर कीजिए। 1 मिनट से नीचे महाप्रसादम प्रेयर चैंट करने को आपको लगता है? ओके, मेजॉरिटी डिवोटी। कितने लोगों को 1 मिनट 30 सेकंड से नीचे लगता है? 30 सेकंड से भी नीचे लग जाता है कैसे? और हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र जप करने को बहुत समय लगता है, राइट ना? कितना सारा समय लगता है हमको जो, लेकिन हरे ये प्रेयर करने को बहुत फास्ट होता है। बिकॉज इतना आनंद आ गया ना, हायर टेस्ट है। थोड़ा सा इसको अटेंटिवली चैंट करना चाहिए। तो मुझे कोई तो एक महाराज आए थे, उन्होंने बताया था कि महाप्रसादम प्रेस को 3 टाइम रिसाइट करो बोले, एक टाइम मत करो, क्योंकि हमारा मन इतना धोखेबाज है। हम आधा प्रेयर होते होते मुंह में प्रसाद चला गया है, आधा प्रेयर हुआ नहीं है और मुंह में प्रसाद भी चला गया, फिर याद आया अरे प्रसाद पूरा प्रेयर बोला ही नहीं मैंने, तो फिर से याद आता है। तो तब से फिर मैंने बनाया है, मतलब 3 बार बोलेंगे प्रेयर, कम से कम 3 में से 1 बार तो अच्छा हो जाएगा ना, कुछ तो हो जाएगा। एंड ऑल्सो इफ यू कैन रीड द मीनिंग ऑफ दिस प्रेयर, then this meaning of the prayer is very important. So as he said, among all the senses, the tongue is the most number one killer of everyone. Tongue, tongue ही सबसे बड़ा धोखा देती है। जैसे बिल्वा मंगल ठाकुर को समझा कि उनकी आंखों ने धोखा दिया, उसके बाद उन्होंने उनकी आंखों के साथ अच्छे से डीलिंग किया। तो हमारा सबसे बड़ा धोखेबाज जो है वो हमारा टंग है। टंग, आप देखो, पूरे दिन में सब कुछ हमारा टंग से चालू होता है। अच्छा प्रसादम बना सपोज, टंग खा लिया हमने, टंग ने एकदम धोखा दिया, भर भर के खा लिया, और रेस्ट आगे का हिस्ट्री है पूरा। बड़ा एकदम भर के खाया, फिर आती है नींद, नींद आती है, नींद आने के बाद सब अलग अलग प्लान्स, मन, ऑल दिस थिंग्स हैपन, देन japa goes in attentively, everything goes. So you have to really deal with our tongue. So feed the tongue appropriate amount of prasadam and the right kind of food. So all desires and everything comes with the tongue. So this is the, I think, the foremost to control our mind and senses. That is, deal with the tongue properly. Then rest, all the other success will be guaranteed. 27th. प्रशान्तमनसं ह्येनं योगिनां सुखमुत्तमम् उपैति शान्तरजसं ब्रह्मभूतम् अकल्मषम्.
The yogi whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is freed from all reactions to past states. Purport. Brahma Bhuta is a stage of being free from material contamination and situated in the transcendental service of the Lord. Mad Bhaktim Labhate Param. One cannot remain in the quality of Brahman, the Absolute, until one's mind is fixed on the lotus feet of Lord. Savay Mana Krishna Padar Vindyo. To be always engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, or to remain in Krishna consciousness is to be factually liberated from the mode of passion and all material contamination.
Yeah. So the verse number 26 is giving the success formula. Verse number 26 gives us a success formula. What is the success formula in the path of yoga? So like there is a peace formula, right? 5.29. So yoga mein there is a success formula. Success formula is bring the mind back. Mind will keep on going here and there, but then bring the mind back. Now what happens when we are endeavoring to bring the mind back in this way? That whenever mind is going, bring it back, bring it back, bring it back. Now what will happen is in this endeavor to bring the mind back, there is an experience of a bliss. Actually, even the struggles in the Krishna consciousness, you see, sometimes devotees have a great difficulty in chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Great difficulty, right ना? कितना मेहनत करना पड़ता है 16 माला कंप्लीट करने में, इवन और एकादशी में 64 राउंड्स करने में, तो माय गॉड एकदम इट्स अ वेरी वेरी ग्रेट स्ट्रगल. Again mind goes, we bring it back. Again mind goes, we bring it back. And then what will happen? That actually at in this struggle to bring the mind back, there is experience of a bliss. There is experience of a bliss. And he said that is an experience of samadhi. There is an experience of little samadhi which we get. Little samadhi which we get in the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Actually, that taste keeps us going on. Like, how many of you, okay, now we have to frankly tell, don't be humble. Don't be humble. Nobody should be humble right now. How many of you feel you can say at least you have got some experience good of good japa in your life? You can raise a little. Sometimes you got higher taste, little higher taste. Don't be humble. Little higher taste you got at least once in your life. May not be, maybe you shifted in Nakul group that time, or maybe after now, or maybe today's japa also. Somebody might have got very higher taste right now. So he said, actually, this little higher taste is making us continued in Krishna consciousness. This little higher taste अभी तक बचा के रखा है. नहीं तो सोचो प्रभु, अगर बाहर का व्यक्ति अगर हमारे वॉइस में रहेगा, तो अगर किसी बाहर के अनजाने व्यक्ति को वॉइस में लेके आओ, उसको मॉर्निंग प्रोग्राम में लेके आओ, वो जब डिवोटिस के अलग अलग मुद्रास को देखेगा ना, बोलेगा कि बेचारे रे रे कितना कष्ट करते हैं, क्यों इतना तकलीफ करते हैं, सुबह जो सोते सोते जब करता है, खड़े खड़े जब करता है, बेचारा सोता क्यों नहीं, सो जाना बेटा, क्यों नहीं सोता है, इतना संघर्ष करता है, खाते वक्त ऑस्टेरिटी करता है, सोते वक्त लेट सोता है, सुबह जल्दी उठता है, मन नहीं करता मन को मारता है. सोचो मन को मार मार के अभी भी कोई व्यक्ति कर रहा है. सुबह उठने का मन नहीं करता तो भी मन, रात को जल्दी सोने का मन नहीं करता तो भी मन को मारता है, खाने का कुछ मन करता है तो भी मन को मारता है, तो भी खुशी से रहता है डिवोटी. कैसे रह पाता है? दिस इज बिकॉज ऑफ द एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ ब्लिस. So when we do austerities like this, there is experience of bliss. And that bliss makes the yogi continue his life like that. Otherwise, nobody can continue. So this is the way to attain samadhi. So he said, mind will keep on going 100 times here and there, bring the mind back. And then in that this struggle with the mind, one will experience samadhi also. 28. युञ्जानेवं सदात्मानं योगी विगतकल्मष सुखेन ब्रह्म संस्पर्शम् अत्यन्तं सुखमश्नुते.
Thus, the self controlled yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Purport: self realization means knowing one's constitutional position in relationship to the Supreme. The individual soul is the part and parcel of the Supreme, and his position is to render transcendental service to the Lord. The transcendental contact with the Supreme is called Brahma Samsparsha.
ब्रह्म संस्पर्श. ब्रह्म संस्पर्श मतलब उसने परमात्मा का रियलाइजेशन प्राप्त कर लिया. So 27 shloka. Okay, what is the difference between 27 shloka and the 28 shloka? Okay, I did not mention that. So what is the difference between 27 and 28? So it is that when we are endeavoring to bring the mind back in this way, one will experience little bit bliss of samadhi. So he will attain different kinds of realization. So 27th shloka speaks about he gets a Brahma Bhuta platform. By this struggle, one comes to the Brahma Bhuta platform, that he realizes Atma. So he has understood that his Atma, and by this he will experience little bit bliss. Now the 28th shloka speaks about he attains Brahma Samsparsha platform. Brahma Samsparsha platform means by such a constant practice, what yogi does is, because of this great struggle in dealing with mind, yogi gradually becomes freed from all kinds of sins. All kinds of sins he gets freed from, and then he also realizes Paramatma. He also realizes he gets a Brahma Samsparsha platform. He has got sparsha of a Brahma, that is Paramatma. So 28th shloka is speaking about Paramatma realization. Then the 27th shloka is speaking about Atma realization. So Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So these three kinds of realizations are spoken here. Brahman realization, Paramatma realization, and Bhagavan realization. So these are the three stages of absolute truth. So how one will get these three stages in any kinds of path of yoga are mentioned here. So if you see in this chapter, uh, the Karma Yoga, Nishkam Karma Yoga, how one will attain Brahman by Karma Yoga, how one will attain Paramatma by Karma Yoga, how one will attain Bhagwan by Karma Yoga, then again Jnana, again then Yoga. So this is speaking about how one will attain Paramatma realization by this Ashtanga Yoga that is being mentioned here. Now now what happens is, as soon as one sees Paramatma, or as soon as one sees Paramatma, so then he will be able to see Paramatma almost not only in his heart, he will become Krishna conscious. So like this is he's coming toward Bhagwan realization now, because he sees Paramatma in his own heart. Now he will be able to see Paramatma in everyone's heart, even in the hearts of insects, even in the hearts of other people. So he says he will get a perfect, very good vision now. He'll get. So what is the vision of a perfect yogi? That is spoken in the verse number 29 and 30, upcoming shlokas. 29 and 30 shlokas are speaking about what is the vision of a perfect yogi. When someone brings about such a mental discipline, then slowly is endeavoring to go against his mind. Then he gets Atma realization, then he gets Paramatma realization, and now he is not only able to see Paramatma in his own heart, he is able to see Paramatma in the hearts of every living entity. And then he has got now perfect realization. So the 29 shloka is speaking about this, 29 and 30. सर्वभूतात्मस्तमात्मानं सर्वभूतानि चात्मनि इक्षते योगयुक्तात्मा सर्वत्र समदर्शनः सर्वत्र समदर्शनः सर्वत्र everywhere he will see with a equal vision. Why? Because he has understood sarvabhutani chatmani, that Paramatma is situated in almost not almost everyone's heart. So he said now he's getting, yeah, 29 and 30 shloka is speaking about the vision of a perfected yogi. Yes, Prabhu.
Translation. The true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord everywhere. Purport. A Krishna-conscious yogi is the perfect seer because he sees Krishna, the Supreme, situated in everyone's heart as Super Soul, Paramatma. Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Riddeshe Arjuna Tishtati. The Lord in his Paramatma feature is situated within both the heart of dog and that of a Brahmana. The perfect yogi knows that the Lord is eternally transcendental and is not materially affected by his presence in either a dog or a Brahmana. That is the supreme neutrality of the Lord. The individual soul is also situated in the individual heart, but he is not present in all hearts. That is the distinction between the individual soul and the super soul. One who is not actually in the practice of yoga cannot see so clearly. A Krishna conscious person can see Krishna in the heart of both the believer and the non believer. In the Smriti, this is confirmed as follows. Atat cha matritvacha atmahi parmohari. The Lord, being the source of all beings, is like the mother and the maintainer. As the mother is neutral to all different kinds of children, the Supreme Father or Mother is also. Consequently, the Supersoul is always in every living being. Outwardly, also, every living being is situated in the energy of Lord. As will be explained in the seventh chapter, the Lord has primarily two energies, the spiritual or superior and the material or inferior. The living entity, although the part of superior energy, is conditioned by the inferior energy. The living entity is always in the Lord's energy. Every living entity is situated in Him in one way or another. The yogi sees equally because he sees that all living entities, although in different situations according to the results of fruity work, in all circumstances remain the servants of the God. While in the material energy, the living entity serves the material senses, and while in the spiritual energy, he serves the Supreme Lord directly. In either case, the living entity is the servant of the God. This vision of equality is perfect in a person in Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, so this shloka is speaking about what is the vision of a perfect yogi. So the vision of perfect yogi is, so this actually also comes in the ninth canto in the Durvasa Muni episode, where it is said, Lord tells Durvasa Muni, just getting the knowledge of Atma and Paramatma, just getting the knowledge of Atma is not the sufficient one. He says one should be able to see Paramatma in the hearts of every living entity, and then one should deal with them like that. So he said this is also higher vision. He a lot Vishnu tells to Durvasa Muni. So here you see that this is the vision of perfect yogi. So actually, a devotee is not an enemy of anyone, and anyone in this world. Like sometimes, like one devotee was sharing, like now this India-Pakistan war is going on, and many times we are also very keen right now. Oh, पाकिस्तान सब मर जाने चाहिए, सब उड़ जाना चाहिए, सब पूरा ब्लास्ट कर देना चाहिए था, इन लोगों ने पाकिस्तान को खत्म कर देना चाहिए था. So when we think like this, then we are actually not understanding that they are also living entities. They are also servants of Krishna. They are also living entities. Somehow they have been in this particular kind of birth and particular kind of body which is there. But every living entity is part and parcel of Krishna, servant of Krishna. And we are not here to produce enmity with anyone. A devotee does not produce even enmity with even animals. Like you see, sometimes there are cats and dogs. So, like I remember in our temple, near our Prasadam hall in Brahmachari Ashram, there is always one cat. This cat always keeps on coming. And whenever any devotee is going, she just does follow. पूरा फॉलो अप करती है वो डिवोटी के पीछे पीछे भागती है और मुझे मुझे बहुत बुरा लगता है वो बिल्ली पीछे पड़ती है हमारे तो बहुत बुरा लगता है क्या कहते हैं अरे बिल्ली पीछे आई तो मैं भगा देता हूँ उसको तो एक डिवोटी बोला प्रभु ये नॉर्मल बिल्ली नहीं है प्रभु ये केवल प्रसाद खाती है ज़्यादा कुछ इधर का खाती नहीं है वे सेड में भी कुछ तो लास्ट लाइफ का कोई योगी होगा जिसका भक्ति का हरिबोल हो गया होगा कुछ तो हो गया होगा एंड नाउ शी दैट भक्ति जो है वो उसका वापस करने के लिए ट्राई कर रही है वो भक्ति पूरा कंप्लीट करने के लिए सो one should see that every even animals with this vision that okay now you may say what about snakes are also having paramatma in their heart and all okay so a devotee delivers snake even with a compassion. स्नेक के प्रति उस स्नेक को मारना भी एक कंपैशन है. अगर स्नेक परेशान करता है अननेसेसरली हम नहीं मारते. स्नेक अगर हमें डर है कि परेशान करता है तो उसको मारना भी एक कंपैशन है क्योंकि वो ऑलरेडी सांप के योनि में है और बहुत एनवियस लिविंग एंटिटी में है. तो शास्त्रों में बताया गया है इसलिए कि हम खुद से सांप को मारने का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट नहीं लेते लेकिन इफ स्नेक्स कम स्कॉर्पियंस कम इवन इफ दे आर किल्ड then they are getting evolved into the next life species. They are going into so we pray for them. Okay, मैंने मारा इसको लेकिन मैं इसको प्रे करता हूँ कि अगला बॉडी इसको ह्यूमन लाइफ मिले. So that is the way devotees were. Yes, Ravi Prabhu, you wanted to ask something?
Pasha, like what we are discussing is like the stage of Uttam Adhikari devotee. So but like many times we hear that for being in this world and to also to propagate the Krishna conscious movement, like only Madhyam Adhikari who is able to discriminate between devotees and non-devotees, and he is on that platform, like not Kanishta also, but on Madhyama, where he is able to discriminate between, and he is able to give this like holy name to the interested candidates like that. So is it okay? Like then this Uttamadhikari level may not like I. It seems like it may not help to such an extent. Can add something?
Yeah, yeah, perfect. What you said is perfect, Prabhu. So especially for preaching Krishna consciousness, one needs to do at Madhyamadhikari. Uttamadhikari just can just preach by his own example, but he cannot directly go and that way. So one has to be on Madhyamadhikari platform because we have to discriminate. We have to discriminate. And now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can go and embrace a tiger and make him chant. And now we cannot use that intelligence to go and embrace a tiger and preach it to tiger. We have to keep, the only best thing is to keep remain away from the tiger. That is what, like now, the way I can embrace devotee, but I have to embrace, I cannot embrace a tiger. We cannot even embrace a woman. Now you may say, forget about this. Like, okay, when I'm talking about any other woman, we cannot embrace. We have to see that that discrimination is required. Oh, this woman is not my mother. This woman, no, we cannot embrace. So that means what? There is a need of a discrimination, especially for preaching Krishna consciousness. For preaching Krishna consciousness, there is a need of discrimination. So the best preacher is the person who is on Uttam Adhikari platform, but he comes down to Madhyam Adhikari. Once of Srila Prabhupada and all the acharyas are like that. They are actually on the Uttam Adhikari platform. But to preach Krishna consciousness, they come down to the this Madhyam Adhikari platform. But there have been examples of Paramahamsas who actually are Uttamadhikari only. In their practical dealings also they are Uttamadhikari only. Like you see certain examples, like their preaching has been very different only. The Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, and but he also discriminated sometimes. So he did not. He wanted to avoid the association of non-devotees. Just used to go to the toilets and chant. Or you see Sant Tukaram. Now Ashadhi Ekadashi is coming. He is like even in his practical dealing, he never saw difference. Muslim आया ये आया क्या आया कुछ difference नहीं देखा है. पूरा उत्तम अधिकारी प्लेटफॉर्म पे ही डीलिंग मारा है उन्होंने एकदम परमहंसा स्टेज पे. But yeah, especially to propagate. So like we have been very sensitive. ISKCON has to be sensitive with some people like to whom we are preaching, Pakistan countries and all this. We have to be careful. We cannot say. So what you said is correct, Prabhu. That Uttamadhikari. So best devotees, Uttamadhikari devotee coming to Madhyamadhikari for preaching platform. But that does not eliminate the need of being Uttamadhikari. Now you say, okay, प्रभु ऐसे भी उत्तमाधिकारी कुछ काम का नहीं है तो क्यों जाने का उत्तमाधिकारी तक. नहीं, ये परफेक्शन ऑफ लाइफ है, परमहंसा का स्टेज है वो. लेकिन प्रीचिंग करने के लिए मध्यम अधिकारी प्लेटफॉर्म पे आपको रहना पड़ेगा अगर आपको प्रीचिंग करना है तो. अदरवाइज उत्तम अधिकारी इज अ परफेक्शन ऑफ योगा or any kind of yoga.
Okay, Bishop, thank you.
Okay, very famous shloka. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sacha me na pranashyati. So Krishna is saying again here that this is also the vision of a perfect yogi. What is the vision of yogi? That he sees me everywhere. And he sees, okay, yeah. Please read.
For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. Purport. A person in Krishna consciousness certainly sees Lord Krishna everywhere, and he sees everything in Krishna. Such a person may appear to see all separate manifestations of material nature, but in each and every instance, he is conscious of Krishna, knowing that everything is a manifestation of Krishna's energy. Nothing can exist without Krishna, and Krishna is the Lord of everything. This is the basic principle of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is the development of love of Krishna, a position transcendental even to material liberation. At this stage of Krishna consciousness, beyond self realization, the devotee becomes one with Krishna. One with Krishna in the sense that Krishna becomes everything for the devotee and the devotee becomes full in loving Krishna. An intimate relationship between the Lord and the devotee then exists. In that stage, the living entity can never be annihilated, nor is the personality of Godhead ever out of sight of the devotee. To merge in Krishna is spiritual annihilation. A devotee takes no risk, no such risk. It is stated in Brahma Samhita 5.38. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santa sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti yam shama sundaram achinta gunaswarupam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship the primeval Lord, Govinda, who is always seen by the devotee, whose eyes are anointed with the pulp of love. He is seen in his eternal form of Shyama situated within the heart of the devotee. At this stage, Lord Krishna never disappears from the sight of the devotee, nor does the devotee ever lose sight of the Lord. In the case of a yogi who sees the Lord as Paramatma within the heart, the same applies. Such a yogi turns into a pure devotee and cannot bear to live for a moment without seeing the Lord within himself.
So now this yogi is going to get a Bhagavan realization. Yogi who saw Paramatma in his heart, he becomes so attracted to Paramatma, and then gradually he goes to the Bhagavan realization. When he wants to see the Bhagavan everywhere, in almost every living entity. So he said this is going towards now bhakti. So now this is a very beautiful shloka. This shloka is speaking about uh, that how a Lord sees everything. Lord sees, a person sees, a devotee sees Krishna everywhere. So actual seeing is seeing Krishna in Krishna everywhere. Like now, Prabhupada gives an example of, like, let's say, if there is a darkness right now, if it is a darkness, it's a dead of the night. It's a very pitch dark. If there is a pitch dark, even I cannot see my own body. Even I cannot see my own body only properly. I want to eat or I want to do something. If there is, I cannot even apply tilak if there is a darkness, right now. But if I want to see myself, then I need to see sunlight. I need to see some light to see myself. Understood, na? When I see the light, I can see myself. So actual seeing is seeing Krishna. So he said, if you want to see even yourself, you need to see the sunlight. So when you see the sunlight, you can automatically see yourself. So he said that is the meaning of what. So when one gets Krishna, when one gets a realization of Krishna, then he actually gets his true realization, what he is. So a person who sees Lord Krishna everywhere and he sees everything in Krishna. Now there is how to develop such vision. Okay, so I'll just share screen. You can see here something very nice to think and meditate upon. So how do we actually see? In this world, how do we develop, like Krishna is asking us to develop this vision. So how do we develop any kind of vision? Let's think about this now. So, okay. Now let's see. You see, first, I'm giving you certain example. A businessman sees, businessman sees a property, or a builder sees a property. ठीक है ना? Builder, I'm talking about here a builder. One who is a construction builder. He sees some construction site. Now builder sees the construction site and we see the construction site. When we see the construction site, we don't have a proper understanding क्या होने वाला है कुछ नहीं. लेकिन जब बिल्डर दिखता है उसको समझ में आता है, अरे जमीन अच्छा नहीं है, यहाँ पे ऐसा प्रॉब्लम हो सकता है, इसका फाउंडेशन कमजोर रहेगा, इस सॉइल में ये प्रॉब्लम आने वाला है, ये ऐसा है. तो इसी दोनों दोनों के पास सेम आंखें दी है भगवान ने. लेकिन जब बिल्डर देखता है उसको कुछ अलग दिखता है और हमको कुछ अलग दिखता है. मैकेनिक मैकेनिक जो है, मैकेनिक कार के जैसे कार खराब हो जाती है, कार खराब हो गई, कार के शटर को अगर किसी ने ओपन किया, हमने शटर ओपन किया, कार के शटर को ओपन किया, हम भी देख रहे सारे अलग अलग क्या कहते हैं बॉडी के, कार के पार्ट्स और सब कुछ देख रहे हैं. हमको कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है क्या हुआ है करके. हमको कुछ समझ ही नहीं रहा है कि कुछ प्रॉब्लम है, कहाँ प्रॉब्लम है, कुछ हुआ है, सब सेम दिख रहा है. लेकिन मैकेनिक को तुरंत समझता है इधर गड़बड़ है. तो सी दोनों के पास सेम आंखें हैं, लेकिन मैकेनिक जो है वो फटाक करके देख पा रहा है और हमको तो कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. राइट ना? तो तीसरा एग्जाम्पल ले सकते हैं। तीसरा एग्जाम्पल जैसे सपोज डॉक्टर है। डॉक्टर जो है वो आपके नाड़ी को टच करता है। नाड़ी को टच करता है, या तो फिर आयुर्वेदिक है तो, एलोपैथिक है तो आपके वो ब्रीथ मतलब स्टेटस्कोप लेता है। वो सुनता है कान में लगा के, हम भी सुनते हैं कान में लगा के। वो जीभ देखता है, हम भी हमारी जीभ देखते हैं। हमको हमारी जीभ देख के कुछ समझा नहीं, लेकिन उसको जीभ देख के सब कुछ समझ गया क्या गड़बड़ चल रहा है। तो यार ऐसा कैसे हो रहा है कि दोनों को भगवान ने सेम आंखें दी है, लेकिन कई बार लोग कहते हैं भगवान दिखते नहीं, दिखते नहीं। भगवान है तो दिखाओ। तो वो कैसे दिख, तो ऐसा क्या लगता है आपको? डॉक्टर जब देखता है तो उसको सब समझ जाता है, लेकिन हम देखते हैं तो हमको कुछ समझता नहीं। मैकेनिक कार को देखता है तो उसको समझ जाता है, हमको कुछ दिखता नहीं। जैसे कि कोई अगर डेवलपर है, लाइक आई रिमेम्बर, मैं पहले कोडिंग में था ना, तो मुझे कोई भी मोबाइल का ऐप आया ना, कोई भी नया एंड्रॉयड ऐप आया, कुछ भी आया, तो जैसे ही ऐप दिखता है, कोई भी ऐप अगर नया लॉन्च हुआ, तो मुझे उसका डायसेक्शन हो जाता है पूरा। ओ इसमें ये मॉडल यूज़ किया है, इसमें ये यूज़ हुआ है, उसमें ये यूज़ हुआ, इसको इस तरह से इन्होंने किया होगा। मैं बोला अरे ऐसा कैसे हो रहा है? बाकी लोगों को किसी को पता ही नहीं है ये सब चीज़ें ना, क्या हो रहा है, कौन सा मॉडल यूज़ किया है, क्या असेंबली हुआ है, अपने को सब दिख गया, कौन सा कोड यूज़ किया होगा, कौन सा एल्गोरिथम यूज़ किया होगा, इतना दिख जाता है। क्यों दिख जाता है? तो व्हाट डू यू फील कि ये ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है? सब लोग एक ही प्रकार के लिविंग एंटिटी है, सबको एक ही प्रकार की आंखें दी गई है, लेकिन सबको कुछ अलग अलग चीजें दिख रहा है। अनदर एग्जाम्पल इज गिवन इज अ डॉग। डॉग सीज अ वुमन, young boy sees woman. Woman means, or dog sees a young, rather than writing a young girl. Young boys see young girl, and old man sees young girl. सबकी विजन में फर्क है, राइट ना? सबको सेम आंखें दी है। डॉग सीज यंग गर्ल, व्हाट इज द विजन? ओह ईट, ईट, या बस उसको ही दिख रहा है। एंड हियर एंजॉय और लस्ट। And old man sees a young girl, is a, like a affection, or like a compassion or daughter, like that kind of feeling, right? Now you see, tell me why things are like that. What do you feel? Any so Taushik Prabhu is writing that seeing through the eyes of knowledge, they are all seeing with their respective knowledge. Very good. Any other understanding about this? That how different people are able to see different things, although we have the same eyes. Anyone would like to try? Okay, Ishwat was telling the difference in the consciousness. Yeah, about the dog and the old man and girl, difference in the consciousness. Thank you, Ishwaru. Kunal was writing the modes. The modes one has got. Yeah, very good. Yes, the modes also change our vision. So basically, here it is said that there is a need, yeah, consciousness. So there is a need of a knowledge. There is a need of a right kind of knowledge to see the things. That's why samskaras. Okay. So you see here. So actually, we don't see through our eyes. We don't see. We never actually see the things through our eyes. Eyes is like a camera. Eyes is just like a camera which observes the things. But actually, we see through our knowledge, like our, as he said, na, our Prabhu Kaushik Prabhu said, we see the world through our knowledge. So what kind of knowledge we have acquired, and what kind of consciousness we have acquired. So similarly, now to see Lord Krishna, there is a need of a special eyes. So special eyes are required to see the like to see the X-ray. There is a need of a special vision to understand the X-ray. There is X-ray vision is required. Similarly, to see Krishna, there is a need of a special eyes. And with special eyes, there is a need of a premanjana. On the eyes, there is a need of a coating of a premanjan. Like to see the X-rays, you have to watch. We are a special kind of spectacles. Similarly, to see Krishna, we need a very special kind of spectacle on our eyes, and that is prema anjan. We have to apply this ointment of love. When this ointment of love is developed, then such a person can see Krishna everywhere. Any moment he can see Krishna. So that's why we sometimes we named this course once now Wisdom Eye. Wisdom Eye means develop the Shastra Chakshusha, develop the special vision to see the world. that is called as wisdom eye. Okay, just one more shloka will take, Prabhu, and we'll stop because already we are late. Just one because this will complete the section of this hour. This will complete the section. सर्वभूता स्थितं यो मां भजति एकत्वमास्थितः सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि स योगी मयि वर्तते.
Such a yogi who engages in the worshipful service of the Supersoul, knowing that I and the Supersoul are one, remains always in me in all circumstances. Purport. A yogi who is practicing meditation on the Supersoul sees within himself the plenary portion of Krishna as Vishnu with four hands holding conch shell, wheel, club, and lotus flower. The yogi should know that Vishnu is not different from Krishna. Krishna in this form of Supersoul is situated in everyone's heart. Furthermore, there is no difference between the innumerable Supersouls present in the innumerable heart of living entities, nor there is difference between a Krishna conscious person always engaged in transcendental loving service of Krishna and a perfect yogi engaged in the meditation of the Supersoul. The yogi in Krishna consciousness, even though he may be engaged in various activities while in material existence, remains always situated in Krishna. This is confirmed in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu of Srila Rupa Goswami. Nikhilasvapi avasthasu jivanmuktasa uchyate. A devotee of the Lord always acting in Krishna consciousness is automatically liberated. In Narad Pancharatra, this is confirmed in this way. दिक्कालाद्यनवच्छिने कृष्णे चेतो विधाय च तन्मयो भवति क्षिप्रं जीवो ब्रह्मणि योजयेत्. By concentrating one's attention on the transcendental form of Krishna, who is all pervading and beyond time and space, one becomes absorbed in thinking of Krishna and then attains the happy state of transcendental association with him. Krishna consciousness is the highest stage of trance in yoga practice. This very understanding that Krishna is present as Paramatma in everyone's heart makes the yogi faultless. The Vedas, Gopal Tapani Upanishad confirms this inconceivable potency of the Lord as follows. Eko pisan bahuda yo abhati. Although the Lord is one, he is present in innumerable hearts as many. Similarly, in Smriti Shastri it is said, Ekeva paro Vishnu sarva vyapina samshaya aishwaryad rupam ekam cha suryatat bahudeyate. Vishnu is one, and yet he is certainly all pervading. By his inconceivable potency, in spite of his one form, he is present everywhere, as the sun appears in many places at once.
Yeah. So basically, one simple thing that yogi who engages in worshipful service of me, he says he remembers me always. So he's when he sees me Paramatma in a form of Paramatma, and then he always remains in he always remembers me in all circumstances. That is what the discussion here is. Okay. So tomorrow we'll cover the verse number 32 onwards, and 32 onwards to verse number 31 and 32. They are mainly speaking about actions of perfect yogi. That what are the actions of a perfect yogi? The verse number 31. The first thing is he worships me. He worships me. And as soon as he starts worshipping, that means he's doing bhakti now. And second is he sees all living being equally by compassion. So he said this is the vision of a yogi. Sorry, these are the actions of a yogi. So till before that we discussed about the vision of a yogi. Now action of yogi. But now Arjuna is going to ask question. Arjuna is telling, बाप रे कृष्ण आपने जो भी बताया ना सब कुछ अच्छा है, लेकिन मन तो इम्पॉसिबल है, मन तो कंट्रोल करना इम्पॉसिबल है. आपने जो बताया मन को बार बार लाओ, मन जितना भटकेगा बार बार लाओ. यार क्या खतरनाक बात है ये, मन को बार बार लाओ, रोते रहेगा आदमी. सो कृष्णा इज गोइंग टू आस्क क्वेश्चन, चंचल ही मना कृष्णा, that my mind is so chanchal Krishna, that how can you say that it is I can control wind. But then Krishna is going to give solution that how to deal with this mind. And ahead he said mind control is must for yoga. If you cannot control mind, you cannot do yoga. Then Arjuna is going to tell that बाप रे ये जो आपने पाथ बताया ना ये impractical लग रहा है मुझे. And then कृष्णा बताएंगे that's why we should do bhakti. ये almost impossible path है, इतना control करना mind. So that's why one should engage in bhakti. So this is the way the chapter ends. It will end. So tomorrow we'll continue. And before we start, we'll have some revision of today's discussion. So please, everyone can be prepared with the some points, whatever they recollect from today's class. Tomorrow in the beginning, we'll ask first thing is this only. So better be prepared with your points tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Shila Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyo vatsa. पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. And I hope devotees are preparing for their examinations. Have you shared, Prabhu, the book question bank with them, the question paper booklet and all that material?
Yes, Prabhuji. Only one was shared, the handbook in which sample questions are.
Yeah, sample means these are the original. Sample means they are the original questions only. That is only question paper in one sense. From there only question bank is going to come. It's a, like 30 questions are there, so 25 questions will come out of the 35. Nothing new will come. Nothing new questions will come. Max to max one question new may come. Max to max. But it is quite simpler exam. So please try to find out the answers for all these questions. And another practice is to not share these answers with each other. Don't do group study here. Huh? Do personal study. Otherwise, many times in one of the classes, it was found one devotee found answers. He shared on the WhatsApp groups that Prabhu, these are the answers, and all prepared, and then just they copy pasted and wrote the exam. No, this for this examination, this should not be done. You try to find out your own answers. Okay, don't take the answers from someone else. So try to find out your own answers. Very simple question answers. And in the June before Utkarsha, Prabhuji Amshukru has a plan to conduct one examination for you. So please try your best to do that way. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.